You're tuned in to Porch Talk with Rev Pat, where raw, real talk rules. So sit back and relax with that delicious cup of coffee or tea or your favorite glass of wine as Rev Pat delivers real, transparent, and raw conversations about all things life. Let's get started.
Welcome to Porch Talk with Rev Pat. I'm Rev Pat, and I am so very blessed to have you join me on the porch again this Friday. Grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your glass of wine. I have someone that I am so excited to have join me today, and this is the Grant lady, Gwen Curry, and she has blessed me to join me today. And we're going to talk about nonprofits, and you've got to hear her story. So once again, grab your coffee, grab your tea, even your glass of wine, and let's get talking. Okay, Miss Gwen, let's talk. You got to tell them what you just told me before this thing was recorded.
I was pastoring a church in Charlotte in 1993. And I wanted to be in a neighborhood where people could walk to church. Like when I was a little girl, I walked to church from home and up in Buffalo, New York. And so now I moved to Charlotte and looked for some property where I could have people, mainly children, to walk to church. And so I wanted a children's church because I know when you get people as children, they usually stay with you until they're adults. And there's so much you could their lives. So I had a 100 voice children choir, and I had a 100 children in my after school, and all the children lived in back of the church in the housing development, public housing. So a lady came by one day and saw these children. I didn't have enough chairs. They were on the floor, on blankets. They were everywhere. And I was cooking a big pot of spaghetti for them. And the lady said, "You know what you need?" I said, "What?" She said, "You need a grant." She said, "Because with all these children, I know you don't have enough money to feed them and to have tables and chairs and stuff." She says, "But I'm going to teach you how to write grants." And she began to teach me for an entire week. I think it was 40 hours, and she charged me $100 an hour. That was $4,000. And another lady came by. They had a grant for empowerment, and she paid that lady to teach me. So all
in and sponsored.
Yeah.
Wow.
She sponsored me to learn how to write grants because she saw how I had come to Charlotte in just 2 years and had a church with 100 children in the choir and 100 children, over 100 children in the after school. And so everybody was wondering how I did it. And I did it by just knocking on doors and asking people, "Can your children come to my church?" And then they says, "Well, do you want us to come, the adults?" And I says, "No, not unless you want to. I'll just work."
I just want the kids. I just want the kids.
After the kids, I had a big choir, and I might have had about 30 adults. A famous musician, Daryl Coley, moved to Charlotte, and he joined my church, and he helped my choir, and we had 3 bands, and they traveled with him singing.
So, wait. Let me stop there because I love me some Daryl Coley, but I was in the choir, and whenever we had to study a Daryl Coley song, that was the hardest. Those were the hardest songs to learn how to sing, right? And so we would go to practice and go to rehearsal, and we would practice the song, and we would get it down right. We would have it just down exactly right. And don't you know, by Sunday, somebody would show up, not somebody, like 10 that didn't go to choir rehearsal, and we'd have to switch off and sing a safe song. So I would tell my choir, our minister of music, if we practice that song one more time, you let them people get up in this choir stand and they don't know that song, we're gonna have problems and complications because that song is gonna get sung. But I love me some. That is so amazing.
He taught them some songs were his songs, but he just taught them basic church songs so that they would really be loud and powerful singing behind him. And it was just so exciting. But after that, people wanted to know why my church was growing so fast. And it wasn't because of the children or the choir. It was because I was going into community, finding out what were the problems in that community. And I would get a grant to address the problem. So I dealt with workforce development. I saw these women working at McDonald's, and it was time for them to learn computers. So I had a computer training, and I had the Goodwill gave all the women cars, and they got hired at car rental companies doing basic computer input. And so that started building up my adults. And then I started with the homeless luncheon every Saturday, and then that built up with some homeless people. But then the big thing that built up the church was every Wednesday night, instead of having Bible study, I called it Bible business study. And if you wanted to go into business, I would teach you what the Bible said about business. And then I would bring in professionals to help them to get into those business. So it was career exploration and Bible study based on business. That caused my church adult population to grow from about 30 people to about 250 people, adults. And that was from teaching business principles from the Bible, but also giving the people tools to be able to appropriate what they had learned and to match them up with a mentor in the community. And then what happened was the people in the community that were in business, they wanted to come and teach those classes, and they took it over. And so all the—
Whoa. You're gonna make me cry because I'm Miss Gwen. And you just did this.
Yes.
Just with a heart to go and get a church so the kids could walk to church.
Yeah, right. So they could be in walking distance. That way the children would come. The children came to the building from Monday through Monday. They came every day after school, and they ate. I had a contract with the food bank, and they gave me a cook and everything. They had never seen so many kids in an after school. And then so I had fed them. Then on Saturday, they would come for Saturday school, and we would go on field trips on Saturday, and we would go to the farm, and we would do gleaning project where we would pick little watermelons and berries and corn and everything we would glean off the land. We would bring it back to the building and put it in baskets and bags and give to the community.
Miss, yeah, I mean, look, look. I'm amazed. I'm amazed, but I'm not amazed because I know how good our God is when we have a sincere heart for him and his people. But I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you, but I'm hearing the humility in you. So I know it came from a heart place. I don't even have to ask you that.
Absolutely. See, when God gives you a vision, God will make the provision. God blessed me with a whole block of property with 3 big buildings. And I didn't have the money to pay for that property or to get it repaired to be able to do the programs. However, the one person that believed in me was the owner of the property, and he held the mortgage. And see, when you want to get a church, a lot of people are trying to find church buildings and stuff. If you could get a piece of commercial property and find the owner, then ask the owner to do owner financing and hold the mortgage. First, you do a lease purchase for a couple of years and let part of that go towards the down payment, and then the owner finances it. So when the owner, we got after the 2 years of paying down, I still didn't have the money, but it was a $4,000 a month mortgage. And he asked me, how was I going to pay that money? And I said, well, it's not definitely not from my church people because they're poor. And I'm starting to get people with money. And then I says, I'm going to get grants. And as it turned out, each grant paid $1,000 a month rent to the church to be in the building. So each one of I had 3 big programs, and each one of them paid rent $1,000 a month to help pay for the mortgage for the property. So the mortgage was $4,000, $3,000 of that was paid through the grants renting the space, and I was running the programs as well. So this is okay.
You are a walking testimony.
I help so many people around the country when I share that, but not only do I share it, I walk them down the path to get them to that point where they could actually get grants to run programs, but the programs will actually help build the church, because the church people, actually the souls that need to be saved were actually people in my programs. And I didn't even have to invite them to church on Sundays because they were coming during the week, and they would ask me, can they come to church on Sunday?
Can I come to church? You know what I'm thinking about as I listen to you talk, I'm thinking about, and he's been on my heart for a long time. I keep going back to Nehemiah and how he surveyed what was needed by himself. I'm going to go look at the land, and I'm going to survey the land, and I'm going to take a look at it. And then I'm going to go back and I'll tell the people the condition of the land. And obviously, the heart of Nehemiah inspired the people to build the wall. And the people, it's my favorite verse, and the people had a mind to work.
Yes. And I've preached that a lot. And the word wall in the Hebrew, it means salvation. So they were actually building up the walls of their salvation. They were fortifying their trust in God before they built the temple, because they were fortifying. This temple, Ezra tried to rebuild it, and Nehemiah built it. They was just building. But Nehemiah had the people to join in and to put their sickle in one hand and in the other hand, and the wall was built
together, hooked up together.
People had, so not only in my case did the people work, but even the children. We showed the children the value of volunteering and helping others and how much fun it could be. So we always did things to include the children in the witnessing and in the evangelism that we were doing. So we didn't have to say a lot. People came because of what we were doing and how we were changing the landscape of the neighborhood. Houses were starting to be built, but also the crime was leaving the neighborhood and the drugs were leaving the neighborhood. We were changing the behavior pattern. The behavior.
Well, if you that's what people don't understand. If you shift the mindset of the people in the community that God sends you to, it's not what we give them, it's what we teach them and what we demonstrate to them and what we show them is possible, what they can do. And I think what we want to do is go in and give. And people don't value anything that's given to them free. And I hate to say that, but they don't. If it's a free house, or maybe, but generally, if I don't have to earn it, it has no real value. It was just given to me. But when I can see what is possible, when someone gives me the tools to do that thing, then that makes a difference, because now I know I'm responsible for creating a life that I didn't think I could have. Now you add with that, I'm doing this with God. And as I grow and become the new creation that I was created to be, I see him at work. But it's not just him at work in me, it's him at work in Pat and with Mark. And that's a big thing for me. I think a lot of times that's my mindset. And then I minimize it. And then I whittle it down and I minimize it, because I know it sounds so grand, but God's so big. He wouldn't give me or us something so small that we could attain it on our own. No, it's got to be large enough. And my father in the ministry used to say, why dream small dreams when you have such a big God? Why not ask him to give you the big assignment? And so that listening to you, I'm in tears, because it inspires me to think to myself, yeah, you know, the vision that he gave me is so huge. And I'm like you, I don't have the resources, I don't have the tools. Where you want me to start with this? I don't have anything but a bunch of peppermints at the bottom of my purse. I'm telling you. So where do you want, where is it you want? But yet, let me tell you, and I'm gonna ask you this. Even though he's given me the vision and it is that big, Miss Gwen, do you know I don't have a bit of fear? I have no, and do you understand what I'm saying? Like, God gives you something and he shows it to you, and it's so big that you begin to go, absolutely, no, he can't be talking to me. And that I'm not going to say, because I think a lot of people want to label it with unbelief. There's nothing about God I don't believe God can do. And there have been times when the assignments have been assignments that made me so uncomfortable that I said, you sure you don't want me to call Gwen and tell Gwen that you said do this or so forth? With this, none of it. I have not felt not 1 ounce of fear, doubt, none of it. And well, from what you're saying, did you experience it on any level, or were you just that sure that that's what God wanted you to do, that you just said, I'm just going to do it?
I was sure, because resources follow planning. And if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Everything I did was written down when I showed the owner of the property what I was going to do in each building. I just took square shapes of buildings and I just wrote the things I was going to do. And I just showed it to him on a big piece of cardboard. I still have that piece of cardboard as well. And he was just amazed that I would want such a big property and so many buildings, and that I was going to do all these projects. And I did all those projects.
See, I did all those projects. Well, let me tell you, when I met with the SCORE, I don't know if I had the SCORE mentor before or after you sent me all the paperwork, but when I met with the SCORE mentor, and he, Ms. Gwen, let me tell you, I think he came thinking that I was going to tell him, well, I think, or ... By the time I got through talking, I'm telling you, that man was leaned in like this. At first, he was like this. And by the time I finished, he was like this. I guess he said, whoa, I did not expect. I mean, because the first thing he said was, most people, and he said it, and I know he said it because it was what he was accustomed to doing. And he said, well, most people just do, we meet once a week, maybe twice a month. And so it just works how you work. And I said, oh no, you're stuck with me. How often do you think we need to meet? Once, twice? I'm tired. He just looked at me like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this one. But yeah, so, and that, I think that's the sureness. The sureness has me at such complete peace. Now, do I have any clue how he's gonna send the resources? I just know he's going to do it. I just know he's going to do it.
He will do it, and you will have the access to certain types of resources that you didn't know about, then new resources will start coming. I mean, once you start doing, this is the way it works. When you start doing your program and everybody starts hearing about your program, then you start getting calls from politicians, other community groups wanting to come by and see you, come by and check. And that's when the money starts flowing, because there's money everywhere. I mean, there's political donations, there's board donations, there's corporate sponsorship packages. I mean, my banker came by and he gave me a check for 40,000. I mean, just because they saw that I was doing something that was benefiting the community, that nobody wanted to come into that community. It was the poorest community. It was the most community. And the week that I closed on the property and started leasing it, they came by with a gun and just shot all through bullet holes through the front of the building, and even broke the lamp on my desk. So, I mean, and the owner of the building, he came by, he says, you want to cancel this deal? He said, because this is a bad neighborhood. I don't want you to get hurt. I says, no, I'm staying. I am staying. I'm going to win these young people that did all this shooting. I'm going to win all of them. And I began to win them. And then a lady came by with a grant application for a juvenile restitution program. So there was the population that was doing all the killing and shooting and drugging. And so I began to work with them after school. We had a part of them was after school. And then we had Saturday where we took them to clean buildings. We took them to, they washed the police cars right in front of the building. We would do neighborhood cleanups and do the elderly people's yards, and all of this to pay off their restitution. And plus we had a $500 check for everybody that they had harmed. That was part of the $500,000 juvenile restitution grant. And I got the same grant for 15 years. So the thing is that once you start doing, you got to start doing what's called a pilot program. And once you do your pilot and people in the city see that you're doing the pilot and you noise it abroad, then people will start coming to talk about giving you money. But they want to see, foundations want to come and talk to you. They want to come and visit your program. And that's the problem that most people have in getting money, is that they don't have a program. I know because of COVID, but COVID is just about whatever gone. And you got to start things that people want to come and see. And does your program that you're doing make an impact on the community, the society, and their behavior? And once people see that, the funders, then you'll get the money for your mission. But you got to do a pilot program, and it has to be evidence-based. So it's
I think that's something I don't know, and that's something that probably a lot of other people don't know, because my mindset was like, this is my mindset. I just think in a different way. Listening to others, talk about nonprofits and you do this, you do that, and you do that. And if you listen to that, it's very discouraging, because it almost makes you feel like, well, how in the world do people help, or how do you help if you want to help, but it makes sense to me. And the issue that I'm tackling is so large. It's crazy. It's really not crazy. I don't mean crazy. It's just something that blows my mind, because everybody wants it. The conversation is fine when we're talking about just plain. If you just say, I want to help homeless children, they automatically say, oh, well, you have so many organizations doing homeless children. I'm not talking about targeting just homeless children. I know they're homeless children. I'm talking about targeting the kids that our tax dollars are supposed to be helping, that are enrolled in school, that a school would dare to say, we're going to pick them up from the flyer. The flyer got me. We're going to pick them up from a campground. We don't have campgrounds in Houston, Texas.
Well, the thing about it is, after school was one thing, but then I made just money, pure money during the summers. I didn't have a grant for summer camp. And the summer camp, because I only charged $50 per child for the whole week, my summer camp was almost 200 kids. So that,
how did you, and wait a minute. So once you grew, once it began to just blossom, I'm gonna say blossom, and God began to just really bring in the harvest. How did people just come and say, Miss Gwen, I want to help you? Or did you have to eventually begin planning for staff? Because I know you could have just been,
I didn't have to plan for staff because the staff was included in the grants. My salary as a was in the grants. All my part-time staff was in a grant, and my assistant director was in a grant. My professional counselors, all that was part of the grants that I was getting. And then the volunteers came from Johnson C. Smith College, University was right up the street, and also UNC Charlotte. The college students who were majoring in education, they have to do community service. So you get a contract with the college, and the college pays them, and you just have to learn how to fill out their work-study timesheets. And that's during the summer as well. And then they have summer youth programs where high school students are paid by the city. So during the summer, I didn't have to worry about staff. All I had was one school teacher who just loved what I was doing, and she would just volunteer for the summer to make sure that we had the right types of curriculum books. And that was basically all we needed from her. And she would just check.
Miss Gwen was making that thing work. She was working and making that thing work. And
you get free food from the school system all over the nation. You get, they deliver the summer lunches to the children. And then you get books from Barnes and Nobles. They have every day they have a worksheet for the whole 10 weeks of summer called Summer Bridges, where a child in first grade goes to second grade work within the first 2 weeks. And so, the high school students help the kids with that. And so, you really have to think outside the box, and it's really simple and easy. And you have to make it where your mission is to prevent summer slide with the children. And also your mission is to help parents not miss a day of work because they can't find a place, an affordable summer camp. So you don't take off holidays or anything. If the children go out of town, you don't kick them out of camp. When they come back, they come right back. If the parents are late picking them up, you don't charge any extra. So the thing about it is, if they were late picking the kids up, the kids would be there working, cleaning up the building, doing all that. I said, this is what you got to do because your parents is late. So
it's on you. It's on you. This is what you do. So, and that just, I'm just floored. I'm just floored. If my insides could be visible to you right now, I'm just done. Yeah. 10 forks in me. Just listening to, how we make things difficult, but listening to you put it all together, hearing you. So, and this was just coming to you. You were just getting this piece by piece by piece. It wasn't, you didn't just go, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. You started with one vision,
one type of population. You start small. I started with 5 kids, and those 5 kids went from D's and F's to B's and C's. In a few weeks of working with them. And then I said, let me add some more kids. And then I start adding more and more kids. And I started going door to door saying, we need your kids because we could really help them. And the people started saying, sure, the bus would drop them off right in front of the church building. So that's what I'm saying is we became surrogate parents for the whole neighborhood till we got to where we would feed them in the morning, like before school. And they would come, and then they would get off the bus in the evening after school. So we fed them breakfast, the school fed them lunch, and then we fed them dinner when they got off that bus. And that became their second home. So children, that was a place of safety. That was a place of happiness and joy. and community for those children. And a lot of them today are doctors and lawyers
I
and
was about
teachers.
to say, I know
Yeah.
you feel like a queen, because I know those babies were just like, I never would have done this without Miss Gwen.
All send me pictures. They send me certificates of everything their children are doing. And when I go to Charlotte about 4 or 5 times a year, I see everybody, as many people as I can, I get to see. And they tell me how, if it wasn't for me being there at that time, their change, the trajectory of their life would have been different. And so the thing is I consider myself a spiritual midwife, and I show birth of every miracle. If you have a vision, I'll help you birth it in terms of the tools and the skills that I can teach a person so that they can birth a vision of a nonprofit successfully. Because how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? You have to start small, and it will grow. It will grow faster than you think, but you got to make sure that whatever you're doing is impactful.
Right.
You don't homeless people, but you provide other services for them. So the big that every agency downtown in social services had a satellite office in my building, and they actually paid rent. So these are the kinds of things that I help churches in terms of their growth. You grow by helping the community to grow and thrive. I mean, you right outside the door of wherever you are, or you got to select a community so that they can see the change that, will occur with the things you're teaching. But not only what you're teaching, the services you're providing.
You have to be doing something. You have to be doing something. I mean, I think we just want to, like our church is small. Okay, we just got open the door for us to start holding our in-person services in one of the elementary schools in the community that we know God is sending us to. The need is so great. And my husband and I were just talking, and I'm like, you got to be doing something. We have to, if you're going to serve them, they need to know you're there, whether you're in a school, whether you're in wherever you are, wherever he put you, if it's a tent, I don't care. They have to know you're there. How do you serve a community that you're a ghost in? They don't know you're there.
And the way to that you're there, you need to have what's called a town hall meeting, where you invite the whole community, feed them a spaghetti dinner or something, give them something. And
you say give them something.
Yeah, people come, they got to eat. And you have a list of an agenda for what you plan on doing for the community. Let them hear from you. Then let them hear from the politicians for that community, your downtown people for that community, and give them a resource listing of all the resources that are already available. Not what the church could provide. Really, the church is supposed to provide the spiritual stuff. And spiritual, but the natural stuff is the city already provides that. It's just that the churches don't tell the people of the services that are available.
Right.
So,
right. And that is so true, because half the time people we'll get a call and somebody will go, can you tell me where to go? And they're surprised that or they have a need. And you go, well, this is available to you, and this is available, because the community does not know. They don't know. And I don't think that's just the problem with the community.
The church could tell the community, this is how my church grew, by having a quarterly town hall meeting, inviting everybody in the city to come if they wanted to, but mainly the people in my community. And I would share with them the things that are available in the city of Charlotte, and also the things that are available from other nonprofits, and also the things that are available from the county. So you got county services, you got city services, senior services, and I would give a handout to them. And then I would put a mic and let them get up and talk about what they wanted to see happening in that community. And the thing they wanted to see happening was they wanted the drugs out, they wanted the crime out, they wanted a safe place for the children. So that's what I was providing. Everything they said they wanted, I was already providing that. And then there was some additional things. They wanted to go gleaning with me. The adults wanted to go pick the crops. They were free. And like in the Bible, Ruth had, and Naomi, well, farmers allow that still today. And we would have all the.
Oh, you said, well, I'm gonna say it like this. I know how to stay in my lane, but I have a few people that will probably go gleaning, but I have to stay in my lane and be there when they get back.
Yeah, I didn't do a lot of picking crops, but I drove the van and I made sure that we had enough boxes and all kinds of stuff. And eventually we got a contract with U-Haul, donated us some trucks and all the free boxes from U-Haul every Saturday. So there's people, businesses that joined in. They were so happy to see us gleaning and giving away food. They provided us a truck so we wouldn't have to take the food on the vans. We had the U-Haul trucks were loaded with food, and we would get free boxes from U-Haul. So people want to help if they see you doing something that's really beneficial to the community, and it's going to be free for the community. And
oh my goodness,
I have.
okay. Let me ask you something. Will you do a part 2 with me?
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to send you a link and we're going to do a part 2 because this is such good information. I don't want to, I don't want to end it really, but I want to be able to do a part 2 and do a follow-up with you and just let you not only continue to give us how God did what he did for you, but how you help others, specifically how you help others. And I know that you probably help so many people. I got my notebook right here. And I'm going to advise y'all, when y'all see her come up as a part 2, y'all need to have your tablets and have your pens ready and be prepared because she's dropping nuggets, and I hope y'all heard them because I've heard several nuggets being dropped here today. But I just want to continue because I hear your heart.
But they need to get a body of knowledge that they could draw from in a step-by-step formalized fashion. I could talk about everything for hours and hours and hours, right. But if they don't have the mind to work and to put these things in practice, then it's an exercise in futility for me to just share. I mean, I share with a purpose so that they can actually appropriate what we're talking about. So if there's people that are interested in taking a class to learn step-by-step church growth, or if they want to learn how to write grants, which is a way to grow your church or grow your funds for your organization and to do the programs that God has ordained you to do, then that's another step. So I teach classes every Saturday just about, but also you can host a class for your group and you could get half of the proceeds up above $2,000. It's $100 a class, and if you want to host a class, you can host it. And if you get 20 people, then you get $1,000. I get $1,000. That's how it goes.
Okay, so I tell you what, because I don't want you I don't want not one bit of your wisdom to be wasted. So let me ask you this. Will you allow me to will you come into the private group called Chosen Covered? And we do a live there and you explain what you offer in your classes.
Yeah, I could do that.
Because that would be purposeful.
Yeah.
I can do a whole big social media blitz and let them know that I will be interviewing you live in the group, and it won't just be in the group because it'll be on my public group page and in the group and on my personal page. And if you need to share it, you can share it. and give people the opportunity to partake of your wisdom, because I'm not asking anyone with this much wisdom to just give away that wisdom. Because if I need to know something, it depends on how badly I want to do what I want to do. That's just how I feel about it. If I want to do it badly enough, I'll figure out a way to take that class, to make the classes, and to make the effort to get the learning in. So let's do that, because I know that there are probably people that would love the opportunity to sit under your teaching after hearing this. I don't see how they couldn't, because it's something to hear somebody say something, but to know that God used them and it grew with just a vision. When people believe that they can think a thing and it's not possible, and to hear you tell your story, wow.
It goes on and on. I mean, the first, when I moved.
Y'all, I'm gonna end this line, but she stuck with me like glue, because the Lord, she stuck with me like glue. I'm gonna pick her brain. But anyway, we're gonna end this, and thank you so much for blessing us with your time. And I will have you back, and we'll talk about something else of your choosing. I'll let you just share wisdom, period, about whatever the Lord gives you to share with me, because you're on the comeback list. I'm making a comeback list, and that's people that I know have some wisdom that others need to hear. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you for joining me on today's episode. And I know y'all gonna blow up. So if you want to contact me and you want to be a part of the class, or to learn more about the class, you can follow me on Facebook, Pat Flowers, or you can join the private community. It's not mine, it's God's community, called Chosen Covered, and just join the private community. And once you join the private community, send me a message. You can message me and I will message you back, but you will see the day that we go live with Miss Gwen, and you can get all the information you need about taking her class. If you're really serious about making an impact, and that's what I live for. We want to make an impact on the lives of those that God sends to us for eternity, not for a minute, not for 30 seconds, not for just a Sunday or a Tuesday, but for eternity. And we have the ability to do that if we use our gifts and our talents, and if we live our lives with purpose. So thank you for joining me on the porch. If you want to join my private membership, Beyond the Porch, where we take our conversations to another level, you can join and become a member by going to ZippyStream, ZIPISTREAM, and subscribe to the podcast. And there is where you'll find some exclusive content, and maybe I'll convince Miss Gwen to do a little recording for our exclusive content, but you won't get it. You won't get it just listening to iTunes and all of the other platforms that I'm on. You would have to be a subscribed member on ZippyStream. So y'all be blessed. Be intentional about being blessed, and be intentional about blessing others. Thank you for joining.